So do you have any idea who you're going to romance into?
In 2, I don't know. I think I might be a MGTOW, you know? Men go their own way. Maybe I'll be that.
Their own way.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You're a male shepherd.
Yeah.
Maybe some Tally this time around?
Or...
maybe some Jack if you're feeling a little toxic.
As I've said before, I was thinking Jack, because she's a fun character.
She is a fun character.
I have been thinking about Samara again. Not a romance option, I know.
Not an option.
But, something about it always just... I don't know, something about her.
You can try.
You
can try.
Always draws me to her, you know?
She's great.
I don't know why.
Samara.
Yeah, I like her character.
Well,
but
Connor,
don't know what else.
if you commit real hard, the Citadel DLC might have some surprises to you. You gotta, overcommit, though.
Overcommit? You mean like bang everybody?
No.
Okay.
Like bang nobody.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
You might be able to bang in 2, and then in 3 just romance nobody, and then you can pursue Samara in the DLC. If she lives that far.
Oh, she will live that far. I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Trust me.
Do you?
I know what I'm doing.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think I do. If my knowledge serves me
Pretty sure there's
correctly.
a mission in 3 you're not thinking about.
They're probably...
There's a... We'll see. You just gotta be quick on that trigger, you know? You just gotta be focused.
Renegade and Paragon action,
Don't
I'm
be
guessing?
distracted. Don't be distracted, you know? That's all I'm gonna say, Connor. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Don't be distracted.
Any point she
Also,
comes...
don't do that. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Anyways. Yeah, I'm thinking... Well, I'm female, so it's gonna be a toss-up between my boys Garrus or Thane again.
But you don't like Jacob?
No, I don't fucking like Jacob. Fuck him.
I mean, Garrus is
I do flirt with him, though.
Oh, you do?
Just because it's fun.
Yeah, Garrus is the best choice, though.
Absolutely, he is.
Yeah.
But then it's like...
You've done him before.
I get to 3, what do I do with Liara? You know,
I see.
Yeah, we get a little messy. Gets a little messy.
Is Garrus not romanceable in 3?
Oh, he absolutely is.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Absolutely is. His best scenes are in his romance in 3.
Nice.
Very. Anyways, Connor, let's drop some sense on him, yeah?
Yeah.
So welcome back, and what's poppin', players, to the 2 Penny Games Cast, episode 44. Connor, we're putting the numbers up. We say this every couple of weeks.
I'm just waiting to get up to 50.
50, 52. Yeah. We're almost there.
When was our first episode? It was sometime in June.
Something like that. I'm not gonna look it up right now.
I'll look it up later. But
go ahead, look it up.
See when our year is going to come to an end.
And gentlemen, we come to you every Monday, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time to bring you the new video game news that you need to know about. We come to you with 2 topics each, 2 pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. You can find us YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Where else are we? I'm missing one.
You said SoundCloud.
SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, Google. I guess I have it all.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I just get lost in the ramble. And
I would too.
Anyways. Also, you can watch us play video games live over at twitch.tv/2pennygames, specifically every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Me and my good buddy Phil, who's been on this show a couple of times, run a little show called Hype, Hyep, Have You Ever Played, in which we show each other a game the other one has never played that we love. Right now, we're doing Mass Effect 1, because I just can't get enough, and Phil is playing it for the very first time. He's making the choices. He's doing the Paragons, the Renegades. He's opening up some romance options. He's shooting some Geth. It's a great time. Come join us this next week. We're probably going to finish it this next week. We're going to find out. We'll see.
Hopefully so. You're not that much farther.
You can also go catch reviews for games we play on Hype here at youtube.com/2pennygamescast. After the hype for Super Mario Sunshine came out this week, I played it for the first time. Spoiler, I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Yeah, it's a Mario game, so it's kind of hard for them to mess up at this point.
It's fun. It's a good time. Anyways, is that it? I believe that is. So, Connor, let's go ahead and jump straight into our first topic. Your first penny of the day, Connor. Netflix really wants to get into video games.
Hey, trying to pull a Google here.
Hopefully
it'll go better.
Maybe. I don't think so. I don't think it's that serious. Anyways, we're pulling a report from Polygon by Nicole Carpenter. Netflix is reportedly searching for an executive to head up an expansion into video games. According to a report published Friday by The Information, the report suggests Netflix has approached multiple veteran game industry executives regarding the position, which would expand its efforts into video games. The Information reported that Netflix is considering a bundle of games available via a subscription, like Apple Arcade. The Apple bundle launched in 2019 with a number of exclusives and timed exclusive games available for $4.99 a month. Apple has continued to support the platform by adding new games at a pretty consistent pace. A Netflix spokesperson told Polygon the company is, quote, excited to do more with interactive entertainment. The full statement is available below. Quote, our members value the variety and quality of our content. It's why we've continually expanded our offering, from series to documentaries, film, local language originals, and reality TV. Members also enjoy engaging more directly with stories they love through interactive shows like Bandersnatch and UV Wild, or games based on Stranger Things, La Casa de Papel, and To All the Boys. So, we're excited to do more with the interactive entertainment. The streaming platform has experimented with interactive video experiences and video games in past. In 2018, it published Black Mirror Bandersnatch, a choose-your-own adventure-style movie, followed by a similarly interactive experience in 2020 for an Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt episode. That's on top of its experience producing series based off video game properties like Dota, Castlevania, and The Witcher and its spin-offs, as well as the upcoming shows based on Magic the Gathering, Sonic the Hedgehog, and League of Legends. Netflix has also produced games before with third-party developers based off of its Stranger Things series, a Stranger Things mobile game, and Stranger Things 3, the game. Details regarding Netflix's reported gaming expansion still remain minimal, but it's clear over the past few years that the company is interested in new interactive mediums. Netflix subscriptions have slowed over the past year, partially due to the delayed production of its original shows, and competition in the streaming space continues to grow. However, the so-called streaming wars have been ongoing for years, and companies prepared to launch new services, and Netflix said in 2019 that its biggest competition is actually Fortnite, which is what more likely pulls players away from the streaming service. Fortnite is a video game, yes, but developer Epic Games is also building what is called the metaverse, growing a virtual world that's more than a video game. Indeed, Fortnite is now a place where people turn for movies. Over the past year, Epic has held multiple movie nights where players can watch films through a screen in Fortnite, as well as the debut of a Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker trailer. Is there more? No. Okay. Connor! First of all, this doesn't interest me at all. I have no interest in anything video game related Netflix has. I would like more interactive things like the Bandersnatch thing to be experimented on, choose your own adventure type stuff. That's cool. That's interesting. Even though I never played Bandersnatch and the word on the street was that it was just okay. However, like, what is this? What is this going to be? Like little, like, quick mobile games that you can download onto your phone or whatever through the app? Or is this like something you can play with your TV with real simple directional pad inputs or something? Like, it
seems like stuff that would be kind of gimmicky.
Yeah.
Nothing really seems interesting.
You're looking at gimmicks, you're looking at mobile games, you're looking at, I mean, sure, like, alright, continue to put out games based off of your original IP or whatever, or experiment with, you know, cross-brand deals. You've got Witcher show, so why not do something with CD Projekt Red to put an update into The Witcher 3 or something weird like that. You know, and, you know, you compare yourself to Fortnite, which makes sense. Fortnite is clearly going to somewhere where people can, like, go to Fortnite to just go hang out, as opposed to just go to Fortnite to play the video game Fortnite. Mm-hmm. Which is cool and a great experiment on that part, but it's also already successful and it laid the groundwork for that early. This, I mean, you could be laying the groundwork here, but I just don't, I think Nicole's comparison to the Apple Arcade makes a lot of sense, but how often do people talk about the Apple Arcade? Like,
I don't even know what that is, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, it's a subscription thing you do to your phone, play a bunch of mobile games for free and stuff. And saying mobile games, you know, often is derogatory, but it's, for the most part, my understanding is some actual quality games in there. Mm-hmm. But it's just a matter of, like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Another issue that I have with Netflix is, it's been a big thing recently for shows like Glow and Orange is the New Black, where they cancel things if they're not doing big enough numbers. So I could see them just doing that with video games as well, constantly having projects and maybe abandoning them before they even come out, or if they're games that maybe need support.
Well, first
they would
off,
stop
I
doing
don't see
those.
Netflix at all getting into the development game. This seems to just be a publishing game.
Well,
a
exactly.
publishing thing.
And then they could just still cancel it. They would have that power to just say, it's not making money. Let's not invest in this anymore. It's just the kind of business Netflix is. I don't think they would really do good in a video game market.
Well, I'm saying this would act more as like a game store as opposed to
right.
as opposed like an EA or what Google tried to do and failed with Stadia. You know, this is going to be more like, hey, play this game only here through your Netflix app on your phone or some shit like that. That's what I would predict this would be. But I don't think this is actually going to come to fruition at all. I think this is just dudes in suits talking about, you know, possible prospects that they could explore, and maybe they will, but I don't think they're going to explore it in any real way. The video games is a medium where it makes the most. Video games makes more money than any other entertainment medium. Period.
Right.
Music industry dwarfs it. Movies dwarfs it. TV, books dwarfs it. And granted, a lot of that revenue is you know coming through your big whales purchasing microtransactions and earning people billions and billions of dollars through games like FIFA or, you know, Candy Crush, et cetera, et cetera.
Fortnite, yeah. Just to name a few.
Yeah. So, you know, all right, cool. We'll see if it comes into anything, but I really don't believe it'll turn into anything serious that we'll ever have to actually pay attention to.
And even if it does, it might not even take off. It may just be a thing that happens and people are like, okay, we have that option open to us.
Exactly.
We want to do things.
So, we'll find out. Anyways, moving on. Story number 2. Connor, your second penny. Thank you for bringing this to my attention, because this is something for a game that I hold dear to my heart.
Yeah.
You know? Both Titanfall games are once again plagued by DDoS attacks. This is an article from PC Gamer by Melindy Hatfield. Titanfall players have been suffering DDoS attacks for a very long time. In April, after many months of complaints, Respawn told players it was investigating the problem and seemed to get it cleared up. But now, a new wave of attacks is affecting both Titanfall and Titanfall 2 players, with streamers showing what looks to be not just a server breakdown, but individual players being isolated and unable to play the match past the opening cutscene. Players have also reported being unable to connect at all. Modder Task Enos has suggested that these attacks on specific players and streamers has suggested that these are attacks on specific players and streamers, and made a free streamer mod that hides players' names in response. But now he's saying that since people have started using the mod, hackers are simply attacking the server that the streamers are playing on instead of singling out players and disconnecting them. Nothing has been confirmed, but Respawn publicly announced it's looking into the problem. The Titanfall servers are currently down as the investigation into the attacks are underway. Plenty of players are replying to the official announcement to point out a similar problem with Apex Legends, Apex Legends ranked matches, which are also suffering from DDoS attacks. Both Titanfall games have a dedicated multiplayer community, which is likely also grown after Apex Legends introduced Titanfall content in Season 9. Respawn, what's going on?
This apparently happened before. As it says. I don't remember when that happened.
If my memory serves correctly, it was a huge problem during Titanfall 1. And was a pretty big problem, but not as big during Titanfall 2's launch, if I remember that correctly, but I'm probably just pulling shit out of my ass.
Okay.
And then, you know, I mean, these things come in waves and they come and go and stuff as, you know, hackers learn new ways to get around certain security programs and so forth. But it's really unfortunate that Respawn games, especially Titanfall and, you know, even now Apex are suffering so highly from these games. Because I love Respawn games. I cannot sing the praises enough of Titanfall 1 and 2. I love those shooters. Those are some of my favorite first-person shooters. Apex Legends, I really enjoy. It's my favorite battle royale on the market, but it's not, you know, battle royale isn't exactly my, you know, favorite type of game to play all the time. So,
but despite that, both of them, or at least Apex Legends, has a very, very large fan base currently playing the game, and these DDoS attacks just kind of screw with people's playtime.
Yeah.
It's strange that they did it to Titanfall 1. I know Titanfall 2 still has a pretty dedicated community, especially recently, after they saw a large jump in player bases, but it just seems like they don't really seem to gain anything from this.
I mean, I personally kind of liked Titanfall 1 better.
You did?
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, like I'm not like that crazy, like, because Titanfall 2 is absolutely a better game.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something about the Titanfall 1, so I could see a core small group of players being like, oh man, we really love Titanfall 1, and also it's old. It's a 2013 game. 2014. Right? Yeah, it was 2013, right? Anyways, so it's probably pretty easy to get in there and manipulate code and shut people down in these ways. But come on, man, just let people play.
It's for shits and giggles.
Why do you have to fuck with people? I just don't understand.
2014.
Titanfall 1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what, I think it was 2016.
2016 for 2. They came out pretty quick.
Pretty quick. Interesting.
I do hope they're able to get these attacks under control and get people back to playing the game.
Yeah, me too. Because, I mean, come on. Titanfall has already, like, taken so many kicks while it's down, like, as a franchise. Like, it's just never been able to get the love that it deserves.
No.
So, just don't be a dick. Like, why people gotta fuck up everybody else's time?
People have these kinds of skills and they're able to do it, so they think to themselves, why not?
Yeah.
I remember there was I can't remember his name. Some guy who gave himself like some kind of nickname, Dr. Evil or some shit like that, who did something similar.
What a pretentious prick.
Not Dr. Evil. It was something different. He was a weirdo, and he did the same kind of stuff on a larger scale that these guys do, probably just for shit, just for fun, just because they can. So,
all right, well,
kind of sad. Pathetic.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Shout out to Respawn. Shout out to Titanfall. Let's hope we get on the other side of this. But Connor, real quick, let's move into our third penny of the day. My first one, something that we touched on. I believe we've touched on a few times on this show. Ubisoft has reportedly made minimal changes following abuse allegations. Pulling from GameIndustry.biz by Mary Delisandri, Ubisoft is not out of the woods yet following the numerous allegations of harassment and sexual misconduct at the company that emerged last year. You'll remember we talked about this on the show last year, sometime around... they were doing their Ubisoft Forwards. It was earlier in the show. Probably we're looking at the early 20s.
November,
Probably
December?
even before then. Might have even been as early as September that we started talking about it. I don't remember. Anyways, Ubisoft is not out of the woods yet following the numerous allegations of harassment and sexual misconduct at the company that emerged last year. An investigation by French publication Le Telegram published in early May revealed that a first wave of legal proceedings was due to start this month in relation to the harassment cases. The collective action is led by Solidaire's... Oh, these are French words. Informatique de Video, a games workers union that has previously called for testimonies to build a case against Ubisoft. Since the wave of accusations targeting Ubisoft's toxic culture, which also pointed at a serious dysfunction in its HR departments, the company has attempted to make changes, but the impact of these changes seem to have been minimal so far, the publication reported. Director of HR Cecile Cornet, who stepped down following the accusations alongside other Ubisoft executives in July 2020, has only just left the company and is being replaced by Chief People Officer Annika Grant, who previously spent 3 years at Uber. Ubisoft had previously appointed Rashi Sika as VP of Global Diversity and Inclusion, who also came from Uber. But an elected representative from Ubisoft's Social and Economic Committee said they, quote, don't expect anything to come out of these appointments, as the HR staff who covered the harassment issues are still in position. Some of the men at the heart of this harassment accusations are also still in their jobs, such as Florent Castelnarc, who heads Ubisoft-owned Natio, and who was accused of harassment by a dozen employees. A union representative said management is, quote, protecting him, or Ubisoft Singapore director Hughes Rykor, who stepped down in November, but still works at Ubisoft in a different role according to his LinkedIn profile. In Canada, quote, nothing has changed since the appointment of Christophe Derenez, who happens to be Yves Guillemot's cousin, in July 2020, a source told Le Telegram. What's more, new harassment cases have been reported since, but those who reported the issues were sidelined in December 2020. Initiatives were put forward by employee groups to try and help solve the crisis, including measures of positive action to make sure more women are hired at Ubisoft. But the idea was not addressed by management. Among the changes made at the company, the firm has recently reworked its code of conduct, which until now didn't mention harassment as a, quote, non-negotiable interdiction?
Never heard that one before. I'll look it up.
According to an elected representative of Game Workers Union STJV. The new version will be published this summer. 20,000 members of staff have had half-day training following the crisis, with managers given more advanced session focused on accountability. Quote, we perceive a desire from management to leave the crisis from summer 2020 behind as it represents a risk for the group's durability. But training must be renewed regularly and offered to new staff. For now, this request has not been addressed, said a source. Update. A Ubisoft representative responded to a request for comment saying, quote, over a period of several months, Ubisoft has implemented major changes across its organization, internal processes, and procedures in order to guarantee a safe, inclusive, and respectful working environment for all team members. The representative listed a number of actions The representative listed a number of actions the publisher has taken, from external investigations of all allegations to anonymous reporting tools and mandatory training on appropriate workplace conduct. They also pointed to the company's revamped code of conduct, the hirings of Grant and Sika, as well as the appointment of Lidwine Sauer as head of workplace culture. Quote, these concrete actions demonstrate the profound changes that have taken place at every level of the company, the representative said. Quote, additional initiatives are underway and are being rolled out over the coming months. We are committed to strengthening our culture and values in the long term to help ensure every team member at Ubisoft is heard, respected, and valued in the workplace.
It sounds like they say that, but then they Catholic Churched Hughes Rickor by just moving him to another position.
Exactly.
So not really.
You're not really making any changes.
Anything.
Get these fuckers out of here, bro.
You know, but if you just move them to a different area, they won't do it.
What? Yeah, a nice little slap on the wrist. Great for everybody. No, Ubisoft, you don't get to determine Ubisoft as in like executives and correspondents who make these decisions. You don't get to determine if your changes have been effective or not.
No.
Your staff do. So if the staff are going to news outlets and saying, yo, yeah, sure, whatever they've said, but it's not enough. Like, these motherfuckers are still here, and we're still dealing with this shit. And people who have come forward after all the big hoopla from last year are being sidelined. Like, yo, you haven't changed. You just got caught with your hand in the cookie jar, and now you're trying to sweep the crumbs under the rug. Mm-hmm. You know, but they're still fucking there. Clean up your goddamn mess, Ubisoft.
Yeah. And there's some nepotism going on with the guy that was ousted just got replaced by his cousin. It's kind of just
no. Oh. That's not that. Yves Guillemot is the head of Ubisoft.
Okay. I see.
Yeah,
who just
so
happens to be the okay.
Yeah.
Who has not had
Canada,
any allegations against him
since the appointment of Christophe Derenys. Is who you're saying. So who's Yves Guillemot's cousin. So they appointed him in the idea that, okay, now we've got new management, something will probably come of it. Oh, nothing's happened.
Mm-hmm,
Nothing's changed. You haven't done anything to increase hiring. Because I remember the numbers, it was something like 20,000 and only like 500 or some shit. Like, we're women. Like, I mean, I understand it's a male-dominated industry, but, like, you can do better than that. Mm-hmm. Especially with how wide-reaching Ubisoft is, how many different countries it has studios in. Like, come on now.
The fact of the matter is that even that wouldn't change anything if they don't get the people that are already out in the first place. Because, you know,
Yep.
I understand this needs to happen with training for, you know, sexual harassment and stuff like that. Because in some cases, people are just saying things and they don't understand that what they're saying could be considered harassment. But for many of these people who have been ousted during these recent stories, they weren't, you know, just saying a couple of insensitive things every now and then. Some of them were actually just, you know, putting hands on other people. It's not something that could just be easily fixed like that if the first thing you don't do is take everybody else.
Yeah, they gotta go.
Yeah.
They gotta go. You don't get rid of weeds by clipping the leaves, you know?
Exactly.
You gotta get it all out. Get it out by the root. Mm-hmm. Come on, Ubisoft, do better. It's important that we retouch on these topics when updates come out.
Yes, yeah. Because with something like this, you know we're just going to hear something else.
Yep.
You know, maybe another round of allegations coming out. Who knows?
Just do your best not to forget and not to sideline these stories, because they're just as important as the dumb little stories like the one we're going to get into now. Overwatch 2, Connor. Penny number 4.
Yeah.
Topic number 4. Final topic of the day. My second penny. Overwatch had a pretty big little news drop this last week, huh?
Yes.
So, we are going to pull from playoverwatch.com, in which they give us a first look at player versus player changes coming to Overwatch 2 that they published May 20th. But and then we're going to give our little insights on it. Connor, you and I, not the biggest Overwatch people, though.
No.
You know.
I'm more so than you. I play it every now and then with our friends, but it's not something I'm super passionate about. It's just a fun game.
There are some intricacies that you're not super cued in on. So, we're going to pull in one of our other friends who is super into Overwatch, both in the like playing the game and with both the competitive matchmaking and quick play, all that fun stuff, but also is a fan of the Overwatch League. So, because these changes are that far reaching.
Yes, so, not just for simply just with players who are going to be playing Overwatch 2. It goes into the big leagues.
So, pulling from Play Overwatch, from Overwatch's little blog post here, the Overwatch team put together a live broadcast to showcase changes coming to PvP in Overwatch 2. And then you can watch the stream if you can go and watch the stream and get the finer details. But I thought this was enough information to get the general thing across, and then we'll bring our buddy Glenn in here in a minute to kind of give his feeling and how he feels about it. So, the core Overwatch PvP experience will shift from 6 players per team to 5 players per team. In the standard PvP game modes of Overwatch 2, each team will contain 1 tank, 2 damage, and 2 support heroes. This is a change. It used to be 2 for across the board, so they're limiting tanks from 2 to 1.
Yes. Tanks being a very, very big part of the game. Make or break entire game sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. This evolution introduces a major shift in the way that the team approaches all aspects of the game, from map design to the dynamics between roles and how they interact as a team. At the heart of this change lies the change in mentality surrounding the role of tank, previously discussed during BlizzCon line. Towards one more focused on brawler style gameplay. This shift from focusing on the protection of your team to in-your-face battling is anticipated to have impacts to the flow and pacing of the PvP experience. During the live stream, we got a first-hand look at a new secondary fire mode for Winston and changes to Reinhardt's abilities. That said, tanks aren't the only role undergoing adjustments to account for this shift to 5 versus 5. The live stream gave us a live look at the new role passives introduced in BlizzCon Line. In its current iteration, these new passive abilities will have damage heroes moving slightly faster than other roles, support heroes regenerating health automatically after staying out of combat for a short period, and tanks taking reduced knockback and providing less ultimate charge to opponents who damage them compared to other roles. Wow, that's actually really cool. Where was I? As opposed to other roles. On the level of hero-specific changes, we showed off updates to Mei's Endothermic Blaster, which will slow and deal damage, but not freeze enemies in Overwatch 2. Other heroes... Oh, that's a big change.
I like that. I
do too. Mei's like one of my... I hate Mei,
yeah.
Other heroes, like Bastion, are being reviewed and reworked from the ground up, which will result in major changes to how the hero plays. This shift results in rebalancing and adjustments across the board. We'll aim to give you a sneak peek on how things are coming for some heroes later this year. Ways to play. Overwatch 2 introduces new ways to play the player versus player experience you're familiar with today. During the live stream, we got a fresh look at Push, an Overwatch 2 game mode where players will clash to take control of a robot that starts in a central location and push it towards the enemy team's base. First introduced BlizzCon 2019, it's undergone a number of updates now that team structures have changed. In addition to Push, the team is currently working through introducing a new additional game mode to Overwatch 2. We don't have any details ready to share just yet, but we can't wait to share more ahead of the Overwatch 2 launch. During the live stream, we also confirmed that the Assault, known colloquially, I had this word earlier when I was reading it earlier. I had it. Now it's gone. As 2CP, 2 capture point, will be leaving the competitive playlist in Overwatch 2 to be replaced with a new game mode. We intend to still have the existing Assault maps available for play in some capacity, custom games, etc., with the release of Overwatch 2. Exploring new maps. We even visited 5 maps and saw live gameplay footage from the Overwatch developers after seeing Rio de Janeiro's story mission during BlizzCon 2019. We got our first look at Rio's Escort PvP map as introduced during BlizzConline. We also got to explore the New York City hybrid and Rome push. Finally, we revealed the never-before-seen illustrious Monte Carlo Escort. New looks. Building upon the ever-growing roster of new looks coming with Overwatch 2, we've revealed that Torbjorn's new look, plus we got to see other new hero looks in action during the live stream, including McCree and Widowmaker. These new looks also bear important changes to the UI and HUD for some heroes, including Mercy and Zenyatta. Check out the live stream to see how we're improving these displays to better communicate important gameplay details. Now, Connor, I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty with some of these changes with Glenn here in a minute, but I wanted to go ahead and all of these changes seem pretty cool to me.
I'm actually pretty excited about how that's going to change everything.
Exactly. The limiting from 6v6 to 5v5 is going to drastically change how every game is dealt with. To my understanding, most players like to play damage roles, DPS roles, so when they changed it to, hey, every team has to have 2-2-2 instead of whatever build you want, it drastically increased your queue times. So limiting a tank from 2 to 1 will probably decrease those queue times. Also, it's probably just easier to find groups of 10 as opposed to groups of 12.
Yes.
So all of that will be interesting. It'll also bring less chaos to the game, just because there's 2 less players in it, so there's going to be a lot less like visual diarrhea on screen. So it'll be a lot easier to follow action. I'm excited for Overwatch League fans for that, so that it'll be easier for them to follow by just watching along and cutting from different cameras angles and getting the bird's eye view. They'll be like, okay, I can see and understand how this all reads a lot better.
Yeah,
and I think that's clearly something that they're taking into account with the new UI changes that they're making, and so forth.
It's an interesting thing because, Overwatch has been out since 2016. It's a good game, but that could change things up because
great game.
Overwatch hasn't changed that formula, the 6v6 formula. Yeah. They've made tweaks to it, but now changing that from all the way to a 5v5 could make people have, different tactics when playing the game.
Exactly.
And just a whole other level of enjoyment now that things are actually changing that much.
Do you think it's going to work out for them?
I think it is. It really depends how they're going to rework the characters that are getting reworked, because those tank roles, I'm assuming, will have to be beefed up to be able to do more.
They have, and I don't know if it was said during this, but it was. I read another article that was like Reinhardt. You're familiar with Reinhardt? Yes. His little what is the fire wave?
Yeah, heat wave.
The heat wave move. He has 2 of those now.
Oh, damn, that's good.
Yeah.
I was trying to look for
people who don't know, the heat wave, he sends out this fireball that does damage and so forth.
Usually it's just good to finich off weak opponents, but now that could lead to it just straight up killing certain ones.
Exactly.
Especially light characters.
And then also he can, I think his charge cooldown is shortened, and he can cancel his charge.
Oh yeah. My god.
So that's just one example. I know, I believe it's Zarya is the beefy one with the gun and the shields and the Russian. Yeah, I think she has 2 shields per ability now.
Damn,
well. Yeah. So they're beefing these tanks up to make them more prominent on the field, and I think they're also doing enough on the back end. Things like, hey, you don't get as much ultimate charge for laying into a tank because the tank is literally there to get laid into.
Yeah.
So you're not being as rewarded for things like that. So it seems like they're going about this in a smart way. And of course, we'll just have to see for when Overwatch 2 comes out. Connor, when do you think Overwatch 2 does come out?
It's, I would think this year, but I'm not quite sure. Honestly, they've been really, up until now, they've been more sparse on the details.
They've been pretty sparse, and this is a pretty good thing. And then this is the first time where they're like, "Hey, this is what we're gonna pitch you later." So I think it's safe to say the official press run has started for Overwatch 2. I'm gonna guess, if we include COVID time, I'm thinking somewhere in the middle of the year next year.
That makes sense too. I mean, the fact that they're not showing us some of this stuff
with a playable beta sometime this year.
Oh, there'll be a beta.
There'll
totally
be
a beta this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't doubt that at all. And if it does come out this year, it'd be near the end, like November or maybe even December.
I could see it as early as September.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll find out. all in due time. But until then, let's bring in a real Overwatch fan here, Connor.
Yeah.
And let's see what Glenn's opinions are real quick. Glenn, welcome to the Two Penny Gamescast, buddy.
I'm glad to be here. First time on.
First time on. Big step for you, buddy. So, you, my friend, are a big Overwatch fan, yes?
Yeah, it's just about all I play at this point. That and Valorant.
And some Valorants, very nice. So yeah, you were on Overwatch fairly early, right? Like you were playing betas and you did put in a bunch of time at launch on PlayStation, and then you've since moved on to PC. Yeah, countless of hundreds of hours.
Yeah, I think I had. I was on the beta on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
It was free, and then I waited a couple months, and I ended up getting on PlayStation because that's all I had. I think I ended with like 1,600 hours or something on PlayStation before I moved to console, which it was literally just like, or PC. Sorry, which I probably would have moved sooner if I just had the money. That was pretty much the only reason I stayed on console.
Sure. And then since then, you've plugged in probably another 1,600 plus hours.
Oh yeah, I think I'm not quite there, but I'm at like 900. I think almost 1,000.
Where do you usually sit in your ranked levels, just to get an idea of how much you're or do you even play a lot of rank anymore? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, that's mainly all we do.
Yeah.
I do. I'm a mid-level like tank player or mid-diamonds main tank player.
That's right. I forgot
and
that
then
they changed it per class. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Just to show how out of touch I am with this game.
And then mid-diamonds support.
Okay.
And then DPS I don't really play that much because the queue times are super long and we're impatient.
Yep, and I'm sure we're going to touch on queue times here for a second. So, this last week they talked a lot about Overwatch 2. Me and Connor briefly, or not so briefly, we went over some of the changes and gave our thoughts on it. But we're not as big as Overwatch fans as you are, so we wanted to bring you in and talk about, because Overwatch is by no means a small game.
Yeah.
And we wanted to bring you in and talk about see how some more hardcore players are feeling about all these things that are happening. So the big news that everyone on the internets are talking about is moving from 6v6 to 5v5, reducing the classic 2-2-2 to 1 tank, 2 damage, and 2 support heroes. How are you feeling about this? How is the Overwatch community feeling about this?
I see when it comes to the community, I've seen a big rift for it. Like, just watching the games and stuff, the Overwatch League games, like, people, the chats are always spammed with, remove 5v5 or
Damn.
5v. It's always like,
A lot of internet trolls out here.
Yeah, it always breaks out into a keep 5v, or 5v5 thumbs up or 5v5 thumbs down. That's what it always breaks out into. And, I've seen mixed stuff. For me personally, when I first heard about it, I didn't really like it. I think it's kind of, I'll probably be slightly biased because I put most of my time in on tank.
Okay.
So them removing a tank, kind of hurts, I guess, just my play style and how I play, because I like to play a lot of main tank, so having that off tank that complements you is always really nice.
Got you.
What
do you think they're doing enough to buff tanks from what they've shown so far? Because they've shown like Reinhardt and Zarya, getting doubled up on abilities and other tweaks like Reinhardt being able to cancel his charge and stuff.
Yeah, because I play a lot of Ryan and Monkey, like the main tanks.
So do you think these changes that they're making are enough to kind of counterbalance and make it fair enough for tank players like yourself?
I mean, I think so. I think it's going to be a lot of tweaking, and I think when the game first comes out, it's going to be either overtweaked or undertweaked, and either tanks are going to be super OP at first, or tanks are going to be super underpowered at first, because that's just how the game is all the time. You can't really, the devs can playtest it as much as they can,
Right.
but you can't really get the good feel for it until you put it out for the public, and the public actually plays it.
They say that a lot in bug hunting and testing games in general. Like, you can play test a game all you want, but it doesn't matter until the millions of people touch it, and all of the work you do previously, just kind of throw it away, because there's so much more data this way. Anyways, so at first you weren't so hot on it. Now, how are you feeling? Are you in more of like a wait and see? Are you a little excited to see how it switches things up, or?
I'm good with waiting and seeing, I guess, at this point. I from what I heard from like why they did it is because they kind of wanted to move it less away from the MOBA experience and more towards just the straight FPS experience.
Okay.
Which I get, but also at the same time doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense to me, because I'm like, why would you want to go towards what all these other games are doing? Because all these other shooters are like, a lot of them are 5v5s or like 3v3s and stuff. And I'm like, why would you want to change your formula to go along with all of them if you were doing something different and like people really enjoyed it? And I also, from what I've heard, is that this is just information I'm taking from, because I watched the live stream for it, the PvP
right.
live stream, that they wanted to do it for gameplay purposes and like bringing in new people and stuff. And I kind of get that. Like, you're gonna scoop up some new people with a new release title, because it'll be Overwatch 2.
And also a lot of players who have fallen out and haven't touched it in years, return to see what's up.
Yeah.
So, and then having less variables of just, two less players on the field changes a lot, and probably makes it a lot easier to read what's happening on the field.
Yeah, just cleaner to track, and probably just watch too. Like, same thing for the Overwatch League. It'll just be easier to watch 10 total players instead of 12 total players. Less
chaos happening, just less things to track at once, and then just because there's a lot of particle effects going on, a lot of like different colors and explosions and type stuff happening in Overwatch. So I can see someone who doesn't know anything looking at it and being like, "This is just like a light show that I just don't understand what's happening." So leading into sort of that conversation, you are a big fan of the Overwatch League. I've heard some conjecture over the internet about this move, because obviously, like, as you're building an Overwatch League team of, your 2 tanks, 2 damage, and 2 support heroes, and you have, you hire players based off of that, I assume, well, now we only have 1 tank, so how is that going to affect our league? Because now there's probably a bunch of players, like, fearing for their jobs right now, I imagine.
Yeah, and it was also already really hard for off-tank players to find teams and find jobs, because the market's so flooded with them. Because it's one of the highest like population of players that play off-tank. So then with them just eliminating a tank role, and then a lot of teams having maybe 3-4 players to play different tanks and specialize in different tanks, you're going to see a lot of players getting cut. And I think there's going to be a much higher focus on flexibility, I guess, for tanks, and just having players being able, because what I think will probably happen is everybody will probably have like 2 tanks, and they'll probably have one of them focus on playing all the off tanks, specializing in all the off tanks, and one of them specializing in all the main tanks. Or even teams could just straight up go with one player, and if they're really good with all the tanks, but I don't see that happening.
Switch your lineup for what makes sense for the team you're facing.
Yeah,
would make sense. It's very interesting like that. So overall, how do you think this is going to affect the Overwatch League as a whole?
it'll make games a lot quicker, and it'll make like certain metas, like when tanks got slightly overtuned at times, and you would have two, it made the time to kill like so much longer, and fights could drag on so much longer. Like you could literally have a fight come in, both teams have all of their ults, and each team uses all 6 of their ults. All 12 ults in the game are used, and no one dies because just of how beefy, like how overtuned some of the tanks could be sometimes, and like they could just the survivability of everybody. So I think it'll make fights quicker and smoother.
Yeah.
I think the watchability of it might go up. I think for the most part, it's going to be a positive thing for everybody but the players, which kind of sucks.
Just because it's hard to justify keeping so many players on payroll when you're not getting as much use out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very interesting. You mentioned queue times. I imagine those are going to drop fairly dramatically because I haven't played in a long time, but from what I remember, it was getting up there like 5+ minutes just to find a single game.
Oh yeah, at certain times of the day and like at certain ranks. I remember when Roki first came out. I know it's a lot better now, but when it first came out, like the high Grandmaster DPS players could straight up wait like 30 to 40 minutes.
Oh my god.
For a game. I don't think it's quite like that anymore. But yeah, you'll still have, when we're playing fairly late into the night.
Yeah.
Even at Diamond, we can have like up to 11, 12-minute queues if we're playing.
That's a long time just to find a single game. But so ideally that would drop, one, because you're looking for 2 less players, and 2, I imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine most players are shooting for a DPS role.
Yeah, DPS and support are the highest.
Yeah,
like,
so
everybody wants to play that.
Not knocking out one of the lower populated roles. It would probably just make all of that. So that seems like a nice little thing. How do you feel about the tweaks they're making to the different game modes? Specifically, they're adding that push mode, which seems to be more of a sort of like a reverse tug of war type mode of some kind.
Yeah, I've seen some gameplay with it. It looks interesting. It's gonna be that one's just gonna be interesting how it goes, because it's gonna be all over the map. It's gonna be much scrappier, I think. It'll be more like Control. And I know they're eliminating 2CP, or what's it called? Assault, I think. From competitive play, which I'm glad. With some of that stuff, it's nice because it seems like they're listening to the community. Because nobody who plays competitive Overwatch regularly likes Assault or likes playing 2CP.
Right.
So it's nice to see them completely getting rid of that. But yeah, and the push game mode, I'm just gonna have to wait. I think that's just gonna play. Yeah, I think it's gonna just play completely differently than any other map, and it's probably gonna be a lot more focused on movement and just speed-based heroes than anything.
Who can get there to keep the push going as much as possible.
Yeah, as quickest. I think that's going to be a huge part of it.
That makes a lot of sense, especially because I haven't seen the gameplay, but just reading and looking into it, it sounds like ideally you spawn at your base, you're pushing towards the enemy base, so like the closer you get to victory, if players start dying, it takes them longer to get back to you.
Yeah,
and helping out. So I'm sure you could have those classic like long drag out things like the what is the one with the payload called?
Escort.
So some of those escort games could last a while. So I imagine we're going to see some similar stuff like that. Yeah.
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 I think it could even be longer than that. Just because of how big it is, how big the map is, and just going from one end to the other. going back and forth, back and forth.
Now they've already said that like all new maps and characters and game modes, I believe, are coming back are coming backwards to Overwatch 1. Is the 5v5 going to Overwatch 1 as well?
Yeah. So they're just if you own Overwatch 1,
You basically have Overwatch 2.
You have the PvP for Overwatch 2. The only thing, if you purchase Overwatch 2, is then you get the PvE or the campaign or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts and opinions on that, or is it just kind of like, all right, whatever?
I mean, it looks like it'll be a cool like side thing. I guess when don't feel like playing PvP anymore or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not super particular on like campaigns.
Okay. All right. So fair enough, but not what you're itching to play. So as of right now, with all these changes coming to Overwatch with the launch of Overwatch 2, how are you feeling about Overwatch 2 in general? Is it like a big hype thing, or are you more like it's fine, whatever, or do you see it as more of just like another big update?
I was hyped for it at first when they first announced it, and just like the PvP stuff. And then, like, with all these new changes, I think it's going to be a process for the game to come back and be, like, balanced again. So I think I'm kind of chilling right now and, like, kind of just waiting. I'm not as excited as I was before.
Gotcha.
Because there's just a lot changing, so I'm like, okay, I want to see how this kind of plays out. I like where the game is at right now competitively is really good. It's like really balanced, and you can play just about anything, and it's not considered a throw pick anymore.
Okay. Wow.
And
that's
like,
very different from when I used to play.
Yeah, so it's just nice. I mean, you still have like certain heroes where it's like you have map metas, right? Like certain maps usually favor certain team comps more, but like for the most part, it's pretty balanced, and it's really nice. So I think all these changes that are going to be coming in Overwatch 2 are probably going to take a hot minute to be smoothed back out again and balanced.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. All right. Glenn, anything else you want to add in the conversation of Overwatch 2 real quick? Or anything that you're excited for or suspect of? Et cetera, et cetera.
I think some of the new maps look really interesting. New York, I think, is going to be an escort. I'm excited to play that map. I think it's going to be really good.
New York City's hybrid, so I guess it can be
hybrid.
A couple of different game modes from their blog post.
No, that just means you cap a point first and then you escort a payload. So it's like,
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sojourn, I'm ready to play her. She was like announced like 2 years ago or whatever.
Oh Lord.
Been waiting to play her because we thought we were going to get her in Overwatch 1.
How many characters have they announced? Because I haven't been following this closely. Have they announced more than one, or only Sojourn?
No, she's the only one.
Okay. Do you think we're gonna get more characters dropped alongside? I imagine they would, like 2 or 3.
On the release, I mean, with how long they've been taking,
right?
I would hope like maybe another 1 or 2. I would understand maybe not dropping them right when the game launches. But like within the first couple months, yeah, like in the first couple months, like popping out another character.
Let that first one breathe, get people able to learn it, and then drop another one, shortly-ish after. That makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, in summary, I guess I'm hesitant on the new game, but I'm, I guess, positively hesitant. That sounds weird, but like,
some optimistic, cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I think it could be enjoyable and it could be healthy for the game. Because for the most part, the big changes that they've made to teams and like playing the game and gameplay and when you're building team compositions have been good. like the 2-2-2 roll lock was really good for the game because it just made it, even though, yeah, you got like your DPS queues and whatever, it just made the game healthier and like play better and feel better because you have 2 of each role, so you're not like 60 PS versus 60 PS. And then it's just a team deathmatch game like it used to be. So for the most part, I think they've done good work. So I think they can know where it's going, and I think they know.
Continue going forward. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. All right, well, Glenn, thank you so much for jumping in here with us and giving us your thoughts. Giving us a lot more to talk about than what me or Connor could ever say. So I appreciate that, buddy.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Anything you want to plug on your way out or anything, or?
Yeah. Body Boys YouTube channel. YouTube.com.
How do you spell that?
Body Boys. BAWDY. And then boys spelled regular because with no I, because that's dumb.
All right. Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate you, buddy.
No problem.
All right. And then I guess we'll just jump back to what we've been playing with me and Connor. Connor, let's go ahead and jump into what we've been playing.
Yes.
I imagine, like me, it's probably just been Mass Effect. So.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much only Mass Effect. Before we get into that conversation, the 2 other games I played is I downloaded something called Fightcade 2. So Fightcade is a program that you can download on your computer to play old fighting games. Very old fighting games. That's like the only way you can play some of these. So the 2 that I started playing were Samurai Showdown 5 and Darkstalkers. I tried out those a little bit. Very weird games.
I'm sorry, wait, this is a bundle pack or something?
No, it's literally just a thing you download, and it gives you access to all these different fighting games to download.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a very, very interesting thing that you can just get on your PC. I'd recommend people buy it if they're any interested in some of these old fighting games. But, they're fun. I haven't got my hands on them enough to say enough about them, especially because I don't even know if they have special mechanics associated with them, except with Samurai Showdown where you can lose your weapon and have to get it back. But, besides that, I have just been playing Mass Effect. Probably the same as you. Haven't had much time this week to play video games, and Mass Effect usually takes up that time.
Yeah, neither have I. I'm not much further into Mass Effect 2 as I was last week when we gave our review, which you can find over at 2 Penny Games. Cast, we broke out video, did real well for us.
In that time, I finished Mass Effect 1, so I'm on Mass Effect 2 along with you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, quick general review, quick Connor review of that there Mass Effect.
Well, Mass Effect 1, as we covered in the last show, it looks great. Like, it's the best it's looked, obviously. It plays very well. The choices that you make have carried on over into Mass Effect 2. Pretty basic stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it kind of got a bit too easy. I actually had to check to make sure it didn't somehow get back to normal, because I had put it on veteran.
Yeah, you get to a certain power level, you're just fucking destroying motherfuckers.
I beat the final mission in like 10 minutes. I just stormed through everything. It was just nothing. I basically spent no time in any room at any point. Like,
by final mission, do you mean no spoilers?
You're running around and doing things.
Do you mean when you go to Ilos?
No.
Or do you mean what happens after that?
After that.
Okay.
Yeah, after that. The final segment of the game.
There we go.
Yep.
Okay. Which remind me, when we get off mic, I want to talk to you about things that, I don't know if they were changes, but things I didn't notice in the original game that, because Legendary Edition polished up so much and made it all look so pretty, I noticed this time.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, so I'm... another maybe 4 or 5 hours into Mass Effect 2 from where I was last week. Just picking up, different crew members and stuff and working my way through it. Haven't had a lot of time to play, especially, because I took time off from work last week to devour as much Mass Effect as possible for the review and for streaming. Twitch.tv/2pennygames. So
they've been whipping you back.
I've just been, toying around with it when I can. And I plan on playing more this week, so I probably won't have much to add to the conversation next week either. But yeah, Mass Effect 2, still good, still quality.
Yeah, definitely more action adventure than RPG, but most notably. There's not as much armor, that you can get access to, or guns, or anything like that.
The lack of guns is like definitely like the bit where it's like, man, like I really wish there was more here. Like,
yeah, I do too. The good thing that levels it out though is that gunplay is better in Mass Effect 2. That's what it's known for.
Yeah, but
guns feel more responsive. They feel more powerful.
Yeah, and then but the full like pullback on powers, like having all powers queued to one cooldown as opposed to them being on their each individual cooldown is really unfortunate, especially because the cooldown rates are different for every power. So like when I put on, I'm a Sentinel, so when I put my tech armor on, it takes forever for me to like throw out another overload or something. Like, and it's just like, man, like I really preferred it in one where it was like, okay, let me use all my abilities all at once and, you know,
let them charge up, or
let them charge up.
Use your ability that allows them all to automatically be used again. Something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, really getting nitty gritty into the statistics and the RPG-ness of it. After all these upgrades to Mass Effect 1, it's not even a competition for me anymore. Mass Effect 1 is far and away my favorite of the trilogy. I mean, I guess when I get into 3, because I've always liked 3 better than 2. I've always liked 2 the least.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
you've always told me that.
A minority opinion. You know, I'm seeing a lot of takes on Twitter this last week of how Mass Effect 2 is like one of the greatest games ever made, and I'm like, guys, chill. Chill.
Yeah, I am enjoying 2 more than 1 so far in the way that it plays, because the cooldown aspect of it, I don't have anything like the tech armor, so everything charges really, really quickly. Even my mainstay ability, my charge, everything's like within like 4 seconds, 5 seconds, it's back up.
It's just when throwing on the tech armor. All my other things are pretty quick, like my throw and my overload and my warp and so forth. But it's just like, all right, now I got to sit and wait. You know, and I don't have the arsenal to back up sitting and waiting like I could in the first game.
Right.
Man, removing that weapon class restriction, I missed that.
I missed that as well. It was so smart for the first one.
I missed my sniper rifle so bad.
I missed my assault rifle. I want my assault rifle.
Oh, God. How terrible is that little, like, starter SMG pistol thing they give you?
I still have that. It's fucking atrocious.
Dude, it's a piece of shit.
Wait, have you got rid of it?
No, not yet.
Damn
do you want to know what missions you can get upgrades
I need
on?
to know. Yes.
Kasumi's loyalty mission.
Okay.
You get a pretty damn good one. And Tally's recruitment mission.
Okay, I'll get to Tally as quick as possible then.
Yeah, well, Tally happens after Horizon. Kasumi you can do as soon as you pick her up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
You can pick her up on your first visit to the Citadel. So.
I guess I'm heading there next.
There you go. So, and to my memory, the one you get from Kasumi's mission is a better one anyway.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
So, to my memory. Anyways, that's all I've really got to say about
haven't beaten
what
it
I've been
yet.
playing this week. I just haven't had enough time to play. Right? I haven't played anything else, right? No, I haven't.
All right. Have.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to call it for episode 44 of the Two Penny Games cast. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, you can catch us at twitch.tv/2pennygames as me and Phil continue our Have You Ever Played experience with Mass Effect 1. I also will hopefully be doing some streaming at some point during the week of more Mass Effect 2 and et cetera, because, you know, if I'm playing, I might as well do it on stream. You know?
Don't see a reason why not.
Yeah. Anyways, remember to go check out that After the Hype review of Super Mario Sunshine. Remember to go check out our Mass Effect review if you haven't seen it over at youtube.com/2pennygamescast. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, share on the podcast services. You know, hit the follow button and hit the give us a nice little 5-star
do all
rating.
that stuff.
Give us some nice ratings. You know.
Mm-hmm. Ratings do matter.
They do matter. Help us out. You know, we're tiny. Mm-hmm. We're tiny people.
Yeah, very, very small.
Anyways, thank you so much for listening. We're going to catch you again next week. Remember, the show comes out Monday, 8 a.m. YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You know, we're out here, man. Go give us a listen. And that's all I've got to say. So, until next week, Connor, say goodbye to the people.
See ya.